Journalists tell the world that images of Jesus and Mary are being replaced by images of Xi Jinping in China's churches. But behind that wild allegation are hidden manipulators and a buried sex scandal. The evidence is this image presented as showing a working church with a picture of the Chinese leader where the cross should be. But look closely and you can clearly see the altar and pulpit are missing. You can see a scaffolding platform on the left, and there are clear signs of repainting on the walls. In other words, this is actually an old church being repurposed, something that happens far more in Europe, where Christianity is dying, than in China, where it is flourishing. Here's the real story. Now, the claim that China's leader is demanding that images of Jesus be replaced by pictures of himself is clearly absurd. The 70 million plus Christians in China and the 1.5 billion people who live around them can all see it's not remotely true. There are images and symbols of Christianity throughout the country's churches. I mean, there are sometimes even statues of Jesus, on the roofs of churches, as Murillo Cavallo has shown, and certainly plenty inside the churches.
Right behind me is the Shenyang Catholic Church, and you see that little gold statue? Well, that's not little, it's about 3 meters tall, and that's Jesus Christ, golden, beautiful, looking out over the city. I just wanted to tell the select committee on the CCP back in Washington that they're fully.
So how did Nikki Smith of the Daily Telegraph and Bill Gertz of the Washington Times get it so wrong? The first clue that there's something fishy with the report is the fact that the information comes from the U.S. Commission on International Religious Freedom. An alarm bell rings. Now, the more serious US body that produces an annual report judging all other countries on this topic is actually called the Office of International Religious Freedom. Now, the existence of that group is already pretty outrageous. I mean, think about it. Well, it gives one country, just 4% of humanity, the right to stand in judgment over the other 96% of humanity, and have the global mainstream media obediently presenting its message as if it was fact. Now, that's a dodgy group, but this fake news report is attributed to the US Commission on International Religious Freedom, which is even dodgier. Now, that one doesn't look at the whole world, but attacks specific countries. It's long been dominated and was led, until recently, by an American lawyer named Nuuri Turel. Now, he was the loudest board member for years and became chairman in 2022. Do you remember that name from anywhere? Yes, he was a key player in the Uyghur genocide scam. From 2018 onwards, the CIA and the US State Department tried to persuade the world that the Chinese were genociding a minority known as the Chinese Uyghurs. There were many players involved in this, including a group called the Uyghur Human Rights Project, founded and chaired by a US lawyer, Turel. Now, the genocide scam was also pushed by an anti-China website called Bitter Winter, which did a special feature on Turel's wild claims. And of course, the story was backed by Western state propaganda units, such as the BBC, and by Radio Free Asia, which, despite its name, has nothing to do with radio, or freedom, or Asia. It's based in Washington, D.C., and was originally founded by the CIA, although now run by the US Agency for Global Media. What was really happening in Xinjiang at that time was the precise opposite of genocide. The Uyghur population has been expanding faster than the Han Chinese population, and the good public health coverage in that area meant that longevity rates for Uyghurs shot up too. In fact, the allegation was so opposite to the truth that even the rabidly anti-China Economist magazine eventually said that it was clearly wrong to allege that a genocide was happening. What sort of man is Turel? Well, I've never met this American lawyer, but you can judge for yourself. There were powerful accusations against him of sexual harassment of female activists from 2019 and 2021 and 2022, as even Wikipedia notes. See this guy? This is Nuuri Turel, and I'm horrified to share a first name with this horrible man. He's one of the most high-profile of all Western Uyghur activists in the anti-China lobby, and has a terrible reputation for treatment of women. Julie Millsap, who worked with him at a group called UHRP, expressed dismay about the stories she's heard about the way he preys on women. Well, she should know she used to be his partner. What is UHRP? It stands for Uyghur Human Rights Project. And guess what? It's not from the Uyghur community in China. Nope. Uyghur Human Rights Project was founded in 2004 with a grant from the National Endowment for Democracy. Yes, the NED, the exact same CIA spin-off that we mentioned earlier. Are you starting to see a pattern here? Now, he stepped down from the US Commission on Religion and the Uyghur Human Rights Project this year. So, the report is from a dodgy source run by someone who seems to have Harvey Weinstein overtones. Miss Smith doesn't mention any of this, of course. Perhaps she doesn't know. Let's go back to the text. The news media quotes the Commission's report, which said, "The government has ordered the removal of crosses from churches, replaced images of Jesus Christ or the Virgin Mary with pictures of President Xi, required the display of CCP slogans at the entrances of churches, censored religious texts, imposed CCP-approved religious materials, and instructed clergy to preach CCP ideology." Now, real journalists check the facts they are given, and they're naturally sceptical people have built-in BS detectors. But not Mr. Gertz or Miss Smith, who appear simply happy to spread news that is clearly fake. I mean, you can check this in minutes. You can just walk into a church in China and have a look around. You can even attend services remotely. You don't even need to leave your sofa. You can go on WeChat. There's loads of Christian content. You can buy statues of Virgin Mary with a click. Or you can just ask Chinese Christian friends. A number of studies say that Christianity is growing so fast in China that it is likely already to have more than 100 million adherents. And of course, most of the world's Bibles are printed in China. But these rather key pieces of data are not included in these reports. Now, the media portrays China as an atheist place which persecutes Christians and doesn't allow Bibles. But the truth is that China has more Christians than 95% of other countries, including European ones like Italy. And China prints the vast majority of the world's Bibles. Miss Smith's article also includes a rehash of a stale allegation of cross removal that's long been debunked. Now, I won't retell that whole story, but I'll illustrate it with one simple example. In the West, leaders relentlessly use building regulations to make cityscapes look more uniform. Countries can even ban the specific elements of one of the world's great religions. Look at this article. Remember when this happened? The building of Islamic minarets was made illegal in Switzerland. Now, it seems to be okay when the West does it, but when China also uses building regulations, the Telegraph's Miss Smith absurdly uses it as evidence to back the wild allegations of American lawyer Turkel and his friends. Miss Smith also quotes China Aid without mentioning that it's a full-time anti-China group based in the United States which partners with the notorious National Endowment for Democracy, also from Washington, D.C. And the Telegraph article is illustrated with pictures attributed to Bitter Winter, the anti-China website we mentioned before. Now, it describes Mr. Turkel as a friend, a claim that doesn't look so good these days. Might want to edit that.
My wife's getting baptized into the Catholic Church next week. And there'll be over 50 other adults being baptized next week. This is in addition to the Easter period in the Catholic Church where people are baptized and or, as our son a few months ago, received his first communion. So these are all normal activities that are occurring for Christians and Catholics here in China. And it's been this way for the entire 25 years that I've been here. And we sat down and had a private visit with Father Gao a few days ago. My mom wanted to meet him, and he told us all the churches have been open since 1978. Of course, that was the post-cultural revolution period when everything was shut down. Universities, churches, schools, everything. It was a crazy time here in China. So that's the fact there. Second thing is, I was actually very surprised to learn that how many Catholic churches there are just in Shenyang. There are 5 Catholic churches just in the whole city area, in the different districts. And then when you include the outer parts of the city, the whole Shenyang metropolitan area, there are a total of 15 Catholic churches. That's just here in Shenyang. And folks, Shenyang is Shenyang. It's the capital of Liaoning province, but this is, it's not one of the top major cities of the country. It's a second-tier city. It's one of the 40 or 50 second-tier cities. And I know for a fact that at every Catholic church, as is happening here, every year, hundreds of new baptisms, first communions. This is the truth. This is the reality of freedom of religion here in China. The government doesn't bother anybody. It's a shame, isn't it? It's disgusting and despicable and heinous that you're constantly lied to about these things. But I'm not going to let that dampen the beautiful spirit of goodness and religion and love that our family is having with my brother and my mom here visiting at this beautiful French missionary church, which was originally built in 1898 here in Shenyang. Thanks, friends. Catch you later.
All this leads me to my usual conclusion. When you read all the anti-China stuff in the papers, remember, a little healthy skepticism is a good thing. It's vital. But real journalism is also vital. It's important. If the Washington Times and the Daily Telegraph won't do it, you and I, we can step up. As a certain carpenter once said, you will know the truth, and the truth will set you free. Amen to that.
The moment to wake up, before I put on my makeup, I say a little prayer for you. I'm combing my hair now, I'm wondering what dress I should wear now. Say a little prayer for you.